Ralph Waldo Emerson held a prominent position among the greatest of 19th century lecturers and has also been identified as the greatest mind of New England. He knew how to craft an aphorism. Quotations from his works stud American literature, from "to be great is to be misunderstood" to "a foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds, adored by little statesmen and philosophers and divines." Consistency was never a burden to him. Next to the originator of a good sentence is the first quoter of it, he said in 1876, having forgotten his famous remark of 1849, "I hate quotations, tell me what you know." When the American essayist and poet was 34 years old, he was asked to give the Phi Beta Kappa address at Harvard University. This lecture, The American Scholar, was delivered on August 31st, 1837, and proved popular with his listeners and with the reading public. Although his unorthodox views on nature and personal revelation soon led to a break with the Harvard Divinity School. Throughout the lecture, he elevates self-trust and deflates the world's hyperbole. A pop gun is a pop gun, though the ancient and honorable of the earth affirm it to be the crack of doom. The scholarly allusions that Emerson makes are few and hard and lucidly explained, as in his reference to the 18th century astronomers John Flamsteed and Sir William Herschel. In contradistinction to book learning, he emphasizes the importance of the lessons of nature. Through a parallel structure of infinitive phrases, Emerson presents the scholar's duties: to cheer, to raise, and to guide. In fact, the same parallel thought with a balance in phrases, each philosopher, each bard, each actor, as well as in clauses. It is one light and it is one good soul which informs the entire speech. I hear with joy whatever is beginning to be said of the dignity and necessity of labor to every citizen. There is virtue yet in the hoe and the spade, for learned as well as for unlearned hands, and labor is everywhere welcome. Always we are invited to work, only be this limitation observed, that a man shall not, for the sake of wider activity, sacrifice any opinion to the popular judgments and modes of action. I have spoken of the education of the scholar by nature, by books, and by action. It remains to say somewhat of his duties. They are such as become man-thinking. They may all be comprised in self-trust. The office of the scholar is to cheer, to raise, and to guide men by showing them facts amidst appearances. He plies the slow, unhonored, and unpaid task of observation. Flamsteed and Herschel, in their glazed observatories, may catalogue the stars with the praise of all men, and the results being splendid and useful, honor is sure. But he, in his private observatory, cataloguing obscure and nebulous stars of the human mind, which as yet no man has thought of as such, watching days and months sometimes for a few facts, correcting still his old records, must relinquish display and immediate fame. In the long period of his preparation, he must betray often an ignorance and shiftlessness in popular arts, incurring the disdain of the able who shoulder him aside. Long he must stammer in his speech, often forego the living for the dead. Worse yet, he must accept, how often, poverty and solitude, for the ease and pleasure of treading the old road, accepting the fashions, the education, the religion of society. He takes the cross of making his own mind, and of course the self-accusation, the faint heart, the frequent uncertainty and loss of time, which are the nettles and tangling vines in the way of the self-relying and self-directed, and the state of virtual hostility in which he seems to stand to society, and especially to educated society. For all this loss and scorn, what offset? He is to find consolation in exercising the highest functions of human nature. He is one who raises himself from private considerations and breathes and lives on public and illustrious thoughts. He is the world's eye. He is the world's heart. He is to resist the vulgar prosperity that retrogrades ever to barbarism by preserving and communicating heroic sentiments, noble biographies, melodious verse, and the conclusions of his history, whatsoever oracles the human heart in all emergencies and all solemn hours has uttered as its commentary on the world of actions, these he shall receive and impart, and whatever new verdict reason from her inviolable seat pronounces on the passing men and events of today, this he shall hear and promulgate.